Hey, hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse?
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I, stopped the goddess of love from killing herself, I guess?
Whoa. Do gods have interventions? You know, they're nothing like I thought they would be. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9. Though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost, but also what might still be out there.
What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her, then. Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Must be hard to be defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true. You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I Guess that translates into sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil. Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
You think there might be other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? And all those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere, and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Yeah, it's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz Oh.
Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
You know what I find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline. Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Hello again. I can't remember the last time I had guests so frequently. I did tell you we could discuss your memories and the Eidolon more in depth after the party. Did you have any questions, or...?
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
Well, let's see. It starts as dreams you'll have of places you've never been, people you've never met, fleeting images, feelings. Then they'll appear while you're awake. You'll be eating breakfast and suddenly recall when you last ate something similar in the 17th century. The only difficult part is that eventually it can be hard to differentiate between your life and all those other lives. They blend together.
It does sound confusing.
A little, yeah. And not all the memories will be good ones. It can take time to process.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Grace, would you say that who you are is at least in part due to your experiences?
I guess so, sure.
Well, you'll have a lot more experiences. They won't feel like someone else's either. It will feel like you did all those things. They will shape who you are now, just as they shaped Calliope and all those who came before her. The good news is, you won't get all the memories. Each time we pass on, the older memories fade.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
Well, we call it passing on, meeting the Eidolon, and it's fine. I've passed on 12 times that I can recall.
So your name isn't really Apollo?
Most recently it was Lucas. Everyone Lucas ever knew is gone, however, so these days I prefer Apollo again.
Lucas? Seems weird to think of you as a Lucas.
It was weird for him, too. Much like yourself, Lucas becoming Apollo was somewhat of a surprise.
Sounds like there's a story there. Tell me about this Lucas. How did he become you? Or is it how you became Apollo?
Apollo had taken to surfing. He left the city without permission and roamed the coast looking for... Well, I'm not sure now. Whatever it was, he found it one night when a giant wave took him down. He was drowning, and I thought, this is finally it. But it wasn't. Lucas saw Apollo struggling and swam out to save him. He pulled us ashore, but it was too late. It took a long time to realize what happened. I didn't return to the city until years later. By then, everyone thought I was Apollo's chosen successor.
So no trial for you, huh?
It wasn't easy at first, without memories or anyone to guide me, but no, nothing like that.
Wait, what would have happened if Lucas hadn't tried to rescue you? What if no one was there when you...
When I died, then the Eidolon of Apollo's line would have ended forever, I think.
You think?
There have been stories about Eidolons that survive for a time and go wandering. That's probably all they are, though. Stories. It's not something we've had much opportunity to study, but normally death without passing on is how an idol really dies. Forever.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
We're many thousands of years old, Grace. If all of those memories returned with perfect clarity, You'd drown in them.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Tell me, how much do you remember from when you were a small child?
Bits and pieces, I guess. Not much.
It's the same for us. The further I try to think back, the more blurry it becomes. I remember the important bits, but little else. Some of the really old memories. There's so many mortal stories that get mixed up with them, things my previous selves learned as legends. It becomes hard to tell. It takes time, Grace. You'll remember all the lives you've led, but at a pace you can handle, and nothing more.
It's a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Hopefully this eases whatever concerns you might have had. Anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
I'd like to know a little more about you. All I know is you live in a dump, you have an oracle, and you...
I'm not sure what to tell you. One day has bled into the next for so long I feel like I've been lost in the spaces in between.
Wow, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, well, it comes naturally. Music and the arts were once under my purview as a god.
How did that get decided? Did you have a big hat full of pieces of paper and you all picked at random?
No, we chose them for ourselves. Some, at least. Others were given to us by our priests. We collected godly responsibilities like marbles.
People collect marbles?
Oh, or whatever it is mortals collect these days. Cars, perhaps? The point is, we took our godly duties very seriously.
You must have been very different back when you were a proper god.
I think most of us were. We saw ourselves as, I don't know, teachers. Mortals were our students, and we guided them to enlightenment. We thought we were special, infallible. I was as magnificent as the sun, and I surrounded myself with those who basked in my radiance.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah. I was arrogant. If there was a man or woman I desired, then I had to have them, or there would be consequences. You wouldn't have liked me. I wouldn't have liked me.
So what is Persephone's beef with you exactly? Is it just about what Hades did to her?
That's no small thing.
It seems more personal than that.
I mentioned how Persephone's kidnapping almost meant war between Olympus and Hades, yes? Well, while this was all going on, Persephone managed to escape the underworld, and I'm the one she encountered first.
Uh-oh.
Hades was hot on her heels, and I had a choice. Either do battle with Hades and start the war right then and there, or let him take her back. Zeus would have had my head if I had sparked a war. Yet all I still think of are Persephone's eyes as Hades smugly took back his prisoner. It's not my finest moment.
Apollo, have you ever tried, I don't know, talking to someone about how you feel?
I will never understand this modern fascination with therapy and focusing on one's feelings.
It might help. You never know.
Yes, I've tried it. There was one I used to speak to. Hecate enchanted him never to reveal what I told him. I don't know that unburdening myself to the man helped. He wasn't exactly trained for this sort of problem.
It is kind of hard to relate to a god, sure.
I do appreciate the thought. But I'm afraid muddling through is as good as it gets for us.
I'd like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
You are. What would you like to know?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
The short answer is, we don't know. If I think far enough back, I can remember bits and pieces. I remember my first Pythian games, the day the idols split in two over Troy, the day my first son died. But before that, nothing. None of us do. I vaguely recall the very first Apollo many thousands of years ago, but was he the original? Did he appear out of the ether? I couldn't tell you.
Psst. Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Interesting. The notion that there might be some other place far away where we're the norm is comforting. Sadly, our memories are filled with blanks. There was a war with beings we called the Titans. A terrible conflict where half our number died, yet do I remember a single battle. The last was after Rome fell. Zeus called us together to relay the news, told us to prepare for battle. And then, in the blink of an eye, I was in the 16th century. What made us forget 1,000 years? What happened during that time? We don't know. Athena calls that period the gap.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I know I was alive. I passed on my eidolon who knows how many times, yet the moment I woke up, as you call it, all memory of that period was gone. It was Athena who found us. I was in France, I think. She came to my farm, and the moment I laid eyes on her, I just knew. It all came back. Did someone do that to us? Did we scatter to the winds for 1,000 years on purpose? It's a mystery.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena claims she awoke on her own and spent the next century locating the other idols. We've pieced together very little of the gap or of our origins. We simply live with it. Gods we may be, but I'm afraid we don't have all the answers.
Earlier you mentioned your son dying. Did I hear that right? Can idols have children?
It was rare, but yes. Back in ancient times, some of them even became idols themselves.
Some of the idols are actually family, then.
Not anymore. Most of our children met terrible ends. A gift of the fates, perhaps. I don't know. The ones who weren't idols. It's hard, watching your children grow old and die. Never understanding why they can't have the same immortality you do, why you can't grant it to them. My first son is why I'm not permitted in Hades any longer. Let's simply say that most idols have stopped having children, and maybe leave it at that.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
I don't think we would have left the old world otherwise. It was home.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
I caused it. I foresaw what was going to happen, so I tried to prevent it. I told Ares. I figured if the god of war couldn't stop what was to come, then...
And that's why he betrayed everyone.
He decided the idols were a lost cause. Because I told him we were.
Has your power ever helped anyone? Even once?
On occasion. The fates are cruel, however, and they don't like being meddled with. My time afterwards was spent helping the survivors, keeping us on the move. If Hephaestus hadn't intervened, we would have all been captured.
And he's...
Oh, gone now, we assume, like so many others. We are nothing more than refugees from a war long over, Grace.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the new world? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
I don't think it was the place so much as the condition we were in. Shell-shocked, one might say. Our entire world had been turned upside down. Suddenly, we had rules. Secrecy was paramount, and no one was permitted to leave the city. Some, like my sister Artemis, couldn't abide it.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Goddess of the hunt. And a wild thing herself. She left, I think. Faded away without a word. As many did in the early days here. Later, Athena became even more strict. For our own good, of course, but it hasn't been easy. This city has never felt like home so much as a temporary shelter.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
For centuries, we were far more. I was the god of the arts, and the muses were my constant companions. We went everywhere together. They had many names, but the three most common were Clio, Thalia, and Calliope. The sisters of beauty, I called them, though they weren't always women.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Most of us seek out inheritors who are like us, I suppose, but not all. Calliope, in fact, was a man in her previous incarnation. Christoph, I think his name was. A poet Calliope adored. I was surprised when she made him a muse.
Who did Calliope become after that poet, Christoph?
You have to realize we're already into the period where Calliope and I weren't really speaking. She showed up one day in her new form, the one you met. An opera singer whose name she never revealed. We fought, as I recall. I told her she couldn't pass on every time she met an artist she fell in love with. Eventually she'd forget everything about who we were and where we came from. She said she'd rather forget than wallow in old memories like I or the other idols were doing. It was time to wake up and make the best of our situation. Calliope was an idealist without compromise. Always. She hated what we'd become. What I'd become. She wasn't wrong.
From how you describe it, you and Calliope fought a lot.
As often as we saw each other, which became less and less as time wore on. However, she fought with everyone. Calliope hated the idols being kept secret. She and Athena would get into screaming matches over the rules, and it got so I could no longer protect her. She moved out of Olympus years ago and kept to herself. I just assumed she was wrapped up with some new artist when I got the news.
Do you regret not making up with her?
Every day I think about our last conversation and what I should have said or done differently. The problem with immortality is that you think you have all the time in the world.
It wasn't only fighting with Calliope, right? Surely there were good things too.
Is that how it sounds? No, she was marvelous. A force to be reckoned with if there ever was one. In the darkest days during the war, it was her songs that gave us hope. She kept Aphrodite alive through sheer determination, I think. Calliope cared. About us, about art, about people she'd only just met. It was her greatest strength as well as her greatest weakness.
I wonder why she picked me. I don't feel like I'm any of those things.
You underestimate yourself, Grace. I see a lot of her in you. She chose well.
What happened to the other muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
Cleo perished centuries before, the victim of an obsessed writer she'd spurned. He kept her in a cage as his personal muse.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
It was. By the time we found her, she was already... Well, it's enough to say her captor didn't survive her for long. Talia, however, was lost to us on the very last day of the war. We were about to leave on the ship, but she just never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never found out. I worried for years, even hired people to look, but as far as I can tell, she up and vanished into smoke that day. The war had ground her down. I was upset, but not surprised.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around?
Of course. I look forward to it.
When I opened that shipping container, I was expecting... I don't know, rats.
Yeah.
Instead we have... Where the hell are we?
It's hard to say. Weren't we going to some kind of library?
Yeah, Pan said there would be books. You like books, right?
I do like books. Mm-hmm.
See, there you go. Apparently this reliquary place has all the books you could ever dream of.
A reliquary? Ooh, I bet it has relics. I want a wand of fireballs.
You are such a nerd.
Speaking of, how much do you actually know about Hecate and this idol you're supposed to help?
Do you know anything about this Hecate? It's not a name that rings bells.
Let's see. Well, she was the goddess of witchcraft, the really dark kind.
Oh.
But she's never really portrayed as evil. She was more of an outsider, lived alone, off in our little corner of the underworld. Do you think that's where we could be? Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I bet knowledge is important to her. It could be an angle if you talk to her.
I'm so glad I brought you, Freddy. I wouldn't know the first thing about any of this.
Nah. Well, I hope it's actually helpful to tell you these things.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because it could all be wrong. I would have never pegged Apollo for a surfer dude with confidence issues.
Huh. Yeah, good point. The idol we're here to help is named Asterion.
And you know who that is, right?
No. Should I?
That's the Minotaur's real name. You know, big bullhead, horns, lives in a giant labyrinth.
Pan did not mention that.
Why am I not surprised?
This Minotaur. You don't think he might be dangerous, do you?
Well, traditionally he eats people, but he was also supposed to have been slain by the hero Theseus.
Well, not so slain after all. Pan says he has a problem with his love life.
Maybe he needs to stop eating all his girlfriends? Okay, I knew that sounded wrong the moment I said it.
We should go inside instead of standing out here in the fog.
It's more of a mist, really.
A mist potentially full of monsters.
In we go, then. Are you really planning on doing that favor for Pan?
Honestly, the reliquary is what I'm really interested in.
Ooh, a plan C. Go on.
There has to be some magical relic that could help me out. The trick will be finding it and getting my hands on it.
That will be a trick, yeah. I love your plans. I guess the Titan thing is literal, huh?
Mortals within the reliquary. Who permits this intrusion, this sacrilege? This knowledge is not meant for the likes of you. I shall grind you into the dust from whence you came!
But I'm not mortal! Wow, does that sound weird coming out of my mouth?
You, perhaps, but the one with you? Mortals cannot learn of the knowledge kept here. Not ever!
Freddy's not just any mortal. She's special. And she already knows about the idols.
We have been revealed. We are undone!
What? No! No, not undone. I swear, I can go, if you want. I will... I'm not gonna tell a soul. It's enough that I even got to see this place. It is so amazing. It's like the Great Library of Alexandria, which, you know, was destroyed, and one of the greatest tragedies of human history.
I have created this sanctuary at great cost. Knowledge is fragile and must be respected.
Maybe we should start over. My name's Grace. It's a pleasure to meet you.
No, you cannot be Grace.
Sure am.
Then Calliope is dead. Is that now? I thought that was not for another 11 months yet.
Yeah, that's now. Or very recently, anyway. I guess you don't get much news here in... wherever this is.
It is between places, crafted by my own hand from the ether. Here in the books are written all things. Past, present, and things that are yet to occur. Yes, it's right here. Calliope joins Grace's band. They become friends. Months later, there is an automobile accident and...
An accident? No, that's not what happened.
Are you saying the books are wrong?
Guess I'm not the only one with a problem.
But this cannot be.
The sooner you accept that someone, somehow, screwed up your magic books, the sooner we can get on to figuring out what happened.
Uh-oh.
You will explain. We will both sit, and you will explain. There will be tea. Curious. It is clear something unanticipated has occurred, something outside the realm of fate.
Is that even possible?
It is, but I must follow the threads back to their source to find the origin of the deviation. It may take years of research.
Years? I don't have years.
That is unfortunate. If there is nothing else, I must ask you both to leave so I may begin at once.
Is there no way to speed that up? Whoever's behind it might be the murderer.
Such threads are not so easily untangled. I must consult the Moirai, if indeed they are not the ones responsible.
The Moi what?
You might know them as the Fates. They, or any beings of a sufficiently cosmic nature, have the power to undo the order of things.
That does not sound good.
Certainly not. They are also not beings I can summon at a whim to solve your mystery. I am sorry.
Actually, I came here to speak to Asterion. If, he is here.
A visitor for Asterion? How strange.
Oh, are we doing guests? Is that a thing? I didn't know.
Wow, okay. Freddy was right.
As if there was any doubt.
My old friend, this is Grace. She is our muse from the line of Calliope, and it is she who asked for you.
I'm here on behalf of Pan. He owes you a favor? Something to do with...
No! Pan! Nah, never heard of him.
Asterion, of course you know Pan.
No idea what he'd want. No, sir, no favours. Nah, not this Minotaur.
There you have it, Grace. I believe now is the time when you leave.
But there must be some mistake.
There is no mistake. Not this time.
Are you sure about that? Because I'm not going.
It is written.
Did you hear that? Pan sends me all this way and Asterion won't even talk to us?
Maybe there's another Asterion?
Yeah, more likely Pan's got me chasing my tail. This was pointless.
Well, I don't think we're getting back inside. Do you have another plan?
I don't know if my powers will even work on Hecate, but it's worth a shot.
Ooh, a musical number. Do you think this one could be... do you hear what I'm hearing?
Oh, you're still here? I had to run the entire... that's a long way, innit? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send you away, alright? I just couldn't tell you, not in front of Kate.
Why couldn't you... Wait. Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Oh, this is so great. I love this.
I heard what you said about Calliope. I can help you. I really, really can. It has to be you. I am so in love with my dear sweet Kate. I just don't know how to tell her. Please, help me tell her.
Let me get this straight. You're in love with Hecate. That Hecate.
Oh, mate, Kate is... She's just the best. Like, she knows everything and she always smells so good. Like, she's so nice to me and she doesn't even have to be. Oh, we got stuck in the tower together because we can't live in the mortal world. I know I could make her happy. I want to try. Won't you help me?
Do you really call Hecate Kate? Off topic, I know, but I have to ask.
Sometimes she has to go into the mortal world for a short time and do things for Athena.
Uh-huh. And...
Well, she had to make up a magic disguise, a new identity. And I thought she should give it a proper name.
And you suggested Kate?
Yeah, she really liked it. She said, "Thank you, Asterion."
Are you really the Minotaur? Like, the monster who roamed a maze and ate people?
And is supposed to be dead?
Well, my father locked me up in a labyrinth, but I never ate anyone.
Oh, well, that's good.
Except Theseus. But he was a bellend.
Have you tried, I don't know, talking to her about how you feel? I take that as a no.
I don't have the words. I've tried. Every time, I end up knocking over a table, or killing a cat, or talking about how sometimes meat has that grisly texture I don't like.
You killed her cat? Oh, no.
It was a small cat. I panicked. I'm just not good at words. Right? Really not good.
Okay, so you're in love with Hecate. What is it you think I can do?
The muse knows about poetry and the heart and how to make words beautiful. All I want is to ask her, but I need good words. Please say you'll help me.
Hecate might say no. You know that, right?
She probably will. I mean, she's Kate. And I'm me. But just once, I'd like to be able to ask her, to say it out loud instead of thinking it. I'll still help you, no matter what she says. I promise.
I do this and you'll help me in return, right?
Athena made Kate swear she's not allowed to say anything about what happens at the tower. But she never made me swear. Maybe she never thought anyone would ask. But I'll tell you, even if Kate doesn't like it, I'll tell you.
If I do this first.
If you help me, any trouble will be worth it.
I don't know. Doesn't this feel a little weird?
Which part?
Helping him woo her with my powers.
You heard what Pan said. You can't make anyone do anything they don't want to do. You can only make them say what's in their heart.
Yeah, that's the part I can't do.
I can't say I'm exactly sure what to do.
Can't you just, start the music?
Yeah, but to do what?
Oh, leave that to me. I am so excited about this, I can't even stand it.
What exactly did you have in mind, Freddy?
I'll set up a vibe and you go for it.
I'm not great at words. I'm more of a dancer.
Just speak from the heart. Be honest.
You can do it.
You cast a spell on me. Not literally, obviously. But I feel in summary, you and me are meant to be. 'Cause you put a hex on me. You didn't do it to me directly. I'm not blaming you specifically, just that metaphorically. Shit, can someone help me?
I love it. You got this. Don't lose your nerve.
I'm too excited, it's hard to describe. I got a bull in a china shop vibe. Just breathe and take it slowly. Tell her you love her only and she can... I'm thinking out loud, aren't I?
It's okay. Just tell her what you want.
You rock my world and I'm telling you, Kate. You already know I'm the perfect housemate. I've never been wary, 'cause nothing is scary. I'm big and I'm hairy and my head is on straight.
Okay.
I have one question. From whence comes this confession? Surely you know I know so little of feeling. I've been so alone. It's all that I've known. This idea you want more has left me quite reeling.
What do now?
Chorus!
You've cast a spell on me. It's a feeling that's killing me. But let's say categorically, oh Katie, it's just you and me.
You're doing great. Give it some confidence.
I know I'm ugly and hard to ignore. I'm glad you're not the type to crave a centaur. I know you want something different in someone significant, but you're just so magnificent I can't take it no more.
These things that you claim set my interest aflame. Since you say that you know what I want, please advise. 'Cause I've never known. I feel my heart is stone. If I perish alone, I shan't be surprised.
Hey, you don't have to die alone.
We all die alone, Asterion.
You have to convince her.
Hecate, you've cast a spell on me, and I'm ashamed of what your magic has done to me. I could have kept my mouth shut, now it's agony, and you've gone all weird, and that's what I feared. Someone please rescue me. This is a disaster. Grace, help me.
If you don't mind, I'll take the floor, because I feel obliged to help this Minotaur. He's a bit absurd, he gets stuck on a word, but he flies like a bird when you walk in the door. Could the love of your life be right under your chin? Well, there's no need to guess, he's already moved in.
Please understand, Grace, it's not him I can't face. My heart is a difficult place to admire. Hot coals at its core, burned so many before, yet he carries this torch, unaware of the fire. I'm tempted, but what you're all telling me is nothing will go wrong, for it's destiny. Have you truly considered this carefully? Black magic takes a toll, and if you lose control, the cost is paid by reality. Is my heart worth everything going amiss? I cannot protect you from the dark abyss, so don't dismiss, just resist.
You think that I don't know the darkness inside of me. You know the stars, but do you remember your history? I love the person I have become. You changed me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me.
Astarion.
Kate?
It seems you've cast a spell on me.
You will not regret this.
Not yet. It is written.
You cast a spell on me.
To think I shall have my own story.
You cast a spell on me.
And we shall write it together.
You've cast a spell on me.
A tale of romance and glory.
You cast a spell on me.
But do we have enough leather?
You cast a spell on me.
Well, that was diverting. You felt this way the entire time, Astarion, and you said nothing?
I didn't think I was worthy. I mean, look at me. I'm only, half a man.
You have been a devoted friend over the long and lonely years, Astarion. I only wish I had realized sooner we could have been more. As for you, Grace, I thank you for arranging this diversion, however it came to pass.
I'm glad to see someone happy, finally.
That would be me.
I am also not displeased by this course of events.
Wow, look at you. Living the wildlife.
Come, Astarion, I wish to speak of this further, and find an appropriate outfit.
Hey, wait for me outside, yeah?
How long are we supposed to wait? It's been over an hour.
I'm sure it's fine, Grace. I doubt the Minotaur would break his promise. Say, what I tell you.
Whew! You still here? I'm sorry. Kate had a lot to say.
Everything's okay, I hope?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was so wonderful. Kate just wanted to talk about feelings and that, which, well, neither of us are good at. Right, so, I suppose you want to know how Calliope broke into the reliquary that night.
She did what?
No, we didn't know anything about that. Do you mean the night she died?
Oh, well, I thought you already knew. Yeah, the night Calliope died, she broke in somehow. Thing is, we know she didn't take anything or even touch anything. I just remember the alarms, and I chased after her.
Did you say the reliquary has alarms? Like burglar alarms, cameras?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It just has a lot of protections. You know, magic.
I don't know magic, actually.
Oh, it's just meant to keep the dangerous stuff from being touched. It was set off, so something happened in the reliquary. We just, don't know what exactly.
How do you know Calliope didn't touch or take anything?
Kate knows everything in the reliquary, right down to the last book. She's been looking, but she can't figure if anything was touched. It makes her so mad not to know. And it made Athena pretty mad too.
Athena got involved?
Yeah, when Kate finally told her, Athena wants Kate to keep investigating, but it doesn't look good.
Athena knows what happened here the night Calliope died?
Yeah, Kate told her a day or so later, I think. We didn't know Calliope died that night, though.
What? Athena didn't mention it?
Nope. Not that that's weird. She's not the chatty type, you know? She came in all quiet and cool, wanted to know who was here that night and what Calliope might have wanted. She swore Kate to silence. Not me, though. Guess she's not as smart as Kate.
You chased Calliope, but did you ever catch up with her?
No. If I'd have caught her, I'd have brought her back and Kate would have gotten answers out of her. All I know is that she was hurt, bleeding bad, but I don't know why. I wanted to help her, but she got away in the fog. Then I ran into Medusa.
Wait, what? Medusa? Here?
Yeah. Well, she's not normally here. I think maybe she was chasing after Calliope too.
Those alarms don't go off if someone breaks into the reliquary? They don't detect intruders?
Oh, normally nobody does that.
Well, Calliope did. She got in somehow.
Well, she must have snuck in the back way. Where do you think I keep running from? Whatever Calliope did here, it was enough to set off the alarms. That's all I know.
What relics are there? Maybe Calliope was looking for one, but couldn't find it before...
Yeah, that I'm not supposed to say.
Do you have the golden fleece, the shield of Zeus, the sword of Damocles? Is it suspended?
You know a lot about that stuff for a mortal.
So it's all real?
I can neither confirm nor deny any of that. All I know is that nothing got used and nothing got taken.
How could Calliope have been wounded?
I don't know. Maybe Medusa did it. Probably not, though. You know, I never saw Medusa near the reliquary, just out in the fog, so she never even got that close.
So whatever happened to Calliope happened inside the reliquary?
I guess. But we don't have anything that would attack anyone. Especially not an idol.
So someone else. But they did it inside the reliquary.
If so, they vanished after.
What was Medusa doing here?
She was chasing after Calliope too, I think, but she wouldn't say why. I asked.
Seems pretty convenient. Her just out there suddenly.
Yeah, that part's weird. I've never seen her near the reliquary before.
Couldn't Medusa have broken in like Calliope did?
Yeah, but I chased Calliope from the reliquary. If Medusa had been there, I would have seen her.
This means Calliope came here the night she died. This is where she was attacked.
But we don't know by whom.
Well, this is the second time Medusa's name has come up. That can't be a coincidence.
Well, she's super scary, but, you know she works for Athena, right? I thought maybe that's why she was here, but Athena said she didn't know about it.
That does seem suspicious.
If that's all you need, then I have to go. Kate will be so mad if she finds me gone. Good luck, Muse.
You okay there, friendo?
I'm okay. We learned a lot. I just wish I knew why Calliope was here in the first place.
Maybe that's a question for Medusa.
Sure, if only I knew where to find her.
One thing at a time, Grace. You'll figure it out. I know you will.
I guess so. Next thing is to go back to Pan. Tell him his favor is done.
What an adventure.
Sorry?
You're just lucky, Grace. Luckier than you think. You go do what you have to, and I'll meet you back at the apartment, okay?
Pan! I hope you're here, because I don't know where else to look for you.
Of course I'm here, Grace. Where else would I be but amongst the trees and the wild things? I really must thank you, by the by. Asterion is simply over the moon, and he's already repaid me with this select tome from the reliquary.
That's why you did all this? Because you wanted some book?
Not just some book, but a tome from the forbidden depths.
I doubt Hecate would be pleased.
Oh, most assuredly not. Neither would Athena, which makes it all the more delicious. I trust you got what you needed. More grist for the mill of your innocence, as it were.
You already knew I would, right?
Oh? Did I?
Come on, Pan. How stupid do you think I am? The place you sent me for this favor just happens to be where Calliope was attacked. You had to know I'd discover that. If you wanted me to know, why not just tell me? What's the angle? Tell me why I shouldn't be suspicious, Pan.
You have no reason to be suspicious. I know nothing of what happened to Calliope at the reliquary. I suppose the question at the heart of this is, do you believe me?
You're enjoying this, aren't you? This tit-for-tat, back and forth.
I'll enjoy it if you're enjoying it.
Well, I'm not enjoying it.
Oh my, aren't you a delight? Even if you haven't answered the question, don't think I didn't notice. I've never lied to you, Grace, and I never shall. If you're looking for innocence, however, well, I'm afraid that's one thing I cannot provide.
What if I discover you're lying to me after all?
You'll do what you do, and I'll do what I do, and we'll see where that takes us.
I hope it's somewhere good. Somewhere I'm not on trial.
Oh, my. You do know how to spoil the mood, don't you? If I can make a suggestion, live the high life. Throw caution to the wind.
That's your suggestion?
And why not? It's the same as when I first met you, Grace. You can enjoy being an idol. Simply follow my lead.
Why not?
See now, this is why I like you. Such a sense of the inappropriate. It is an ugly business, living among the gods. You'll always twist an arm, even if you're trying not to. And so I say, let's do it. The world, it needs that guy who is prepared to move the pieces in from every side. All of the world's on the edge of a knife. so I choose partying. There's no need for strife. So dance, little Gracie, come, won't you dance? Only so much of your life's in your hands. Haven't I helped you? The rest is chance. So come on, let's have this dance. So what, the call was close. We're both alive and well. We'll live to fight another day, as far as I can tell. And even if you don't, and I expect you won't, I promise you'll be glad you spent the night with me. So dance, little Gracie, come, won't you dance? Only so much of your life's in your hands. Haven't I helped you? The rest is chance. So come on, let's have this dance.
Do you really think I'm so hopeless? Or is it you who's afraid to show me how you really feel?
Don't be like that, Grace. We both know this is who I am. I can't change, so take it or leave it. I won't repeat it. I'm only here for the dance.
You don't have any hope for me, do you? You're just taking what you can get before it's over.
I've seen this story many times, Grace. I've told this story many times. And it always ends the same way. You're hoping to find Medusa, I expect.
Changing the subject? And how do you even know about that?
I'm just trying to be helpful, Grace. In my way. You'll find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. But do be careful if you call on her, Grace. Medusa is a hideous monster and should be treated as such.